Hi guys, I'm Diamond. I'm a content creator, writer, and strategist. And today I'm going to be talking about how to stay in your power when you're not being seen. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Really appreciate it, and let's get into it. First thing I want to say is this video is really for my people who have been wanting to be seen. You've been posting, you've been putting your work out there, whatever you're looking to be seen in, and you feel like you're just not getting any traction. And I want to talk about how to stay in your power and how to keep going and what it takes to break out of that cycle of feeling like your work is never being seen or you're never being taken to the next level, like it's not getting enough eyes, and really shed some light on my experience with that, because I definitely have had that experience. And also, as still, I consider myself a pretty small creator, probably under 6.5K on Instagram, 12K on TikTok, and almost 1,000 subscribers on here, just under. I still consider myself to be a smaller creator, but I've still been able to make a living off of my content, right? This is my full-time job. I still have been in publications. I've worked with amazing brands, my dream brands and dream clients. So I really want to talk about how even when you feel like you're not being seen, that you still have the capacity and the ability to refine yourself, to take yourself to that next level, but also make the most of where you're planted. First thing I want to talk about is the root of wanting to be seen. And really, this is about desire in general, right? So I truly believe that if a desire, an authentic desire, is in your heart, and you will know it is an authentic desire, and sometimes you have to do some things, experience some things to truly know if it's a desire aligned with you, or if it's just something kind of you've just been inspired, as a mimetic desire, which can happen sometimes. But once you know that something is truly what you desire, then that means that it is meant for you. And it may not actually look like exactly what you think it's going to look like right now, but that desire may grow into something else. Like sometimes our desires lead us to another opportunity, or they teach us something, or it's a gateway for us to do something else. So just because a desire may not play out in the exact way that we think it's going to, doesn't mean that we're wrong to desire it or it's not supposed to happen. It just may not happen in the way that we think. And that's why they always tell us to release needing to know the outcome, right? And how it's going to happen and exactly what it looks like at the end, because oftentimes we have these desires in our heart and we see them looking in our head one way, and then it's completely different when we get there. And this is kind of going to be the through line story for me, right? Obviously, because I'm a content creator. But when I first started creating content, I knew that I wanted to be seen, but even at that time, it felt kind of shallow. I would do workbooks and exercises, and they would be talking about like, why do you want to do this? Like, what do you want everybody to get out of it? And I'm like, I just want to post and look cute and look good. And I'm like, I guess I want people to be inspired by my fashion. Like, even then, deep in my heart, I knew it felt a little shallow, but I didn't have anything else to go off of at that time. I hadn't had my spiritual awakening. I didn't have all the wisdom that I have now, all the confidence that I have now to show up online the way that I do. But I just knew that I had to start at that time. And I knew that I wanted to be seen because I am meant to be seen. And at that time, when I was first starting to create content, and I'm thinking about the long-term goal, because I do think it's good to think about what you want it to look like long-term, of course, but be open. But I was like, oh yes, I'd love to be a fashion creator and have 1 million followers and just post my outfits every day and open a boutique. Like this was what I thought right when I started creating content back in 2018. So how many years ago was that? 18, 19, 20, 20. Damn. And so that was almost 8 years ago, I guess. So I really started full swing in 2019. So 7, 8 years ago. And since then, it's evolved so much, because when I first started social media, I was posting hair content and fashion content, which is why my page is called Your Coilyness, because it was about me getting a grasp on my natural hair. But then I realized, I was like, okay, like I actually don't want to just have to do my hair every week. This is exhausting. This is tiring on my hair. I just want my hair to look good. And then I pivoted into fashion, and then I enjoyed fashion for a while. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling a little like a puppet. I'm feeling like I'm consuming a lot. I feel like I have to buy stuff to, create content. this has to change. And then that's when I started creating more talking content and content around mindset and creativity and being a content creator. And I have loved it. But what initially started me wanting to be seen and how I thought I wanted to be seen, it has transformed as I have transformed as a person. And I say all that to say that most likely why you probably have not been seen in the way that you want to could be because you are still refining. You're still in that refinement phase of the best way and the best time and the version of you that should be seen to that height. And listen, I know you guys that are watching this video, you are probably already getting views. You are already getting followers, subscribers, buyers, whatever. Like, I know I'm not talking to the people with zero, right? Because you're getting something. And this leads me to my next point, where your focus on how you're not being seen on the magnitude that you want is actually only further blocking you and showing you more of that, right? I talk about this all the time. Where your focus goes, your energy goes. So the more you focus on, I only got 100 views, I only got 1 follower this week, I I still didn't get this, I still didn't get this, you are focusing on the negative. So guess what? You're going to get more of that. You have to take your focus off of what's not working and focus on what is working. Oh, I posted consistently this week. Oh, 2 people saved my video this week. Oh, someone sent me a really meaningful comment or DM about what I'm talking about. That is the stuff to focus on. And I promise when you focus on that, that you will get more of that. One thing that I would suggest is starting a win tracker and get an actual journal. Do not just do this in your phone. It's something about literally writing it down at the end of every day and write it down. 1 subscriber, 2 views, 3 views, you know, whatever it is. And, or if it's the percentage overall, like, cause I know with all these apps now, they'll tell you the percentage, like, and now write it down. Even if I wrote down another percentage yesterday, I'd be like, 5% growth on my YouTube subscribers this week, 3% growth on my views this week. I'm writing down all those wins because that's what I'm focused on. And also, it's you focusing your attention on the people that are already here showing up for you. That's important. Instead of being like, oh man, only 5 of you showed up. Damn, I'm out of here. It's like, well, dang, where's the respect for the 5 people that are here for you now? Where's the respect to your craft? Where's the respect to why you are here, your art? That's just as important, because when it becomes from 5 to 5 million, you need to have that same energy. And that also keeps you honest, right? Because you're like, I don't care if there's 5 people here or there's 5 million people here. I'm going to say or create or do what I was led to do, what I know I'm supposed to be creating or doing. But if you know that you can be controlled easily by the size of people that are watching, or, oh, my views went down because I talked about this. Well, if that's something you know you're supposed to be talking about, it doesn't matter how your views went. It doesn't matter. If you can be controlled like a puppet just based off of how people are showing up, then you're going to be a puppet. That's basically it. And I don't know about you, but I left my corporate job because I didn't want to be a puppet anymore. I didn't want to be controlled by other people. And that's not to say everybody working in corporate, of course, is like a puppet. But I'm just saying in general, for me, I didn't like corporate because I didn't like being told what to do. So I'm definitely not going to show up online and create content and create because that's what people want to see, right? Trendy videos or something that's just stupid to me, honestly. And I know it's not really a judgment of like, oh, it's literally stupid, but to me, it is stupid. Like, it's just, and I'm not even going to give examples, but it's just content that I don't consume, and it's content that I don't want to watch, and it's definitely not content that I want to make. Ciao, don't get me started. I'm kind of going off the cuff today, so I made a little bit of a script, but I'm also kind of flowing, so we'll see where we go. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is why else it might not be happening to you yet, and it could be because you haven't built the foundation for it. Do you have the systems in place? Do you have the content for them to go and consume? Do you have the other pieces up for them to go and buy or check out or whatever, so that when the influx of people do come, that you are ready for them? I ask people this so often. It's like, everybody's like, I want to go viral. I want to go viral. Okay, but are you ready for when you go viral? Are you ready for when you go viral and everybody comes to your page, that there is something there for them to, 1, confirm your authenticity, meaning that you already have other content up. They can see that you've been posting consistently. So they built that trust to know, like, okay, if I follow her or if I trust what they're saying, I know that they're going to stick around. They're going to show up. 2, do you have something that you're offering them? And you don't have to necessarily have something you're offering them if you're not there yet, that's not something you want to do. But if you do, whether that's your email list so they can join your newsletter, because email lists are king right now. They are absolutely the top thing that you can have, right? You don't want to have to put all your eggs into the social media basket onto these platforms. Could they sign up for your email list? Do you have a free resource or something for them to go and sign up for? But what are you, or do you have a product that you want them to buy? What are you expecting them to do? Once you have all these eyes, what are you going to do? Because so often we see these people that go viral and then they're viral for 2 weeks and we never see them again. We never hear from them again. And sometimes they form their own niche groups, right? And not saying that going viral is a bad thing, because it can be great, right? But also just thinking about that longevity of going viral. Are you prepared for that influx of eyes, and what are you going to do with them? And how are you going to use that to build your true, authentic audience? Because you're going to get all those eyes, and I want you guys to think about this like a sales funnel, right? You're going to get all these eyes. Let's say you have a video that gets 1 million views. You're going to get all these eyes. Okay, all 1 million of those eyes are not going to be completely interested in you and what you have to say, and ultimately buy your product, check out your content, subscribe to your email list, do whatever you would like people to do when they come to your page ultimately. So you're going to have 1 million people that are going to come from this viral video, let's say. You're going to have that percentage. They're going to be like, ooh, haha, hee hee, this was funny, this was entertaining, this was whatever. And then you have a subset of that group of 1 million people. Let's say it's 10,000. And they're going to be like, wow, I really like this person. I see that they've been posting consistently. I see that they show up for their audience and they've been creating content similar to this for a while. I'm going to follow them, or I'm going to subscribe to them. And then from there, you got another part of that subset of people, that 10,000. Let's say it's 1,000. And they're like, I'm completely sold on this person. I love her. I'm obsessed. Can't live without her. Whatever she tells me to do, I'm doing. I am a true fan. And those 1,000 people are the ones that are going to subscribe for your email list. Those are the ones that are going to buy your product. Those are the ones that are going to tell all of their friends every time you do something. Those are the ones going to show up to your in-person event. But are you ready? Do you have that funnel built? Are you ready for all those eyes? Have you built that out? And this is an analogy that I always use when I'm talking to people, just about when you're really trying to call in anything. I call it the pop star analogy. But if I told you today that I'm a pop star, I'm becoming a pop star, and you were like, oh, that's great. So where's the album? You got the album done already? Or can we listen to one of your old albums, right? Because if you're a pop star, that means you've already been doing this for a minute, right? Not an up and coming pop star, but like, no, I am a pop star. Oh, okay. So what's your album called? Oh, I haven't done an album yet. Okay. I've actually never even been in a recording studio. Okay. All right. Well, when was your last performance, or when's your next upcoming performance? Oh, I don't have a performance planned yet. I actually have never done an actual live performance. So this isn't sounding like a pop star. And then the last one is like, okay, are you signed to a record label, or, have you looked into record labels? No, actually, I haven't looked into record labels. I don't know anything about record labels, really. It's not sounding like a pop star. It's not giving pop star. So you have to become the version of you that has that thing, that would be drawing in this case, drawing in those eyes, or in the case of the pop star, that is a pop star. When you think of a pop star, what do you think that they do? Who do you think that they are every day? They're recording, they're doing live performances, they have albums, they're probably posting on social media, they're doing vocal training. All these things, you would assume that we know that is what a pop star does. Like, that is the embodiment of a pop star. So what is the I say all that to say, what is the embodiment of you being seen? And that's going to be a little different for whatever you are, or what you are trying to be seen for, right? If it's just content creation, or is it you're just trying to be seen more for your art, or whatever it is, think about that. Who are they? Are you really embodying that? And are you ready to hold that container for when you get all those eyes on your work? And if you guys would like me to do a video on systems or setting up your funnel to make sure that you are ready, I definitely could do that. A video, what to do when you go viral. I think I did a short form video about that. But I can do a long form video about what to do when you go viral, so that you're prepared and you're ready to make the most of that, because it's going to happen. It's inevitable, and it's going to happen on varying degrees also. And this is one thing that I like to say about going viral. Don't just think as viral as 1 million views or 100,000 views, whatever, 10 million views. I like to think as going viral as anything that is 5 to 10 times your normal view count. So let's say you normally get 1,000 views on your videos, 5,000 views. To me, that's viral. That's viral for you. That's 5 times what you normally get. It's an outlier. And definitely anything between 5 to 10. And some people really say 10. I usually lean towards 10, but I think when it's 5 times more than what your usual viewership is, it's like, it's an outlier. It's a lot larger, right? And if you got 1,000 views, 10 times that would be 10,000 views. That's viral. So if you normally get 100 views and you get 5 times that, 500 views, viral. That's viral for you. And when you tell yourself that too, right? Like I said, with the focusing thing, you're reinforcing that, like, yeah, I go viral all the time. I went viral last week. I'm going viral. And right. And as you continue to grow, even if it's just a little bit, right? Your usual views, let's say, are 1,000, and you had this 5,000 moment where you went viral. Now your average views is going up to, let's say, 2,000. Now the next time you go viral, that's 10,000 views. You know what I'm saying? And it's just going to keep leveling up. And it may not be this big jump right away, but you are going to see those little incremental wins. I also talk about Doechii and Sabrina Carpenter. Doechii, we saw her growth online. She literally documented on YouTube. She was putting in the work for a while. Like, people weren't watching her content. People weren't viewing things like that. It was a slow burn, but she got there. And I think Doechii's story is so powerful, and I'm just so glad that we got to see that, and she's kept all that content up on YouTube, because literally, like, she was putting in the work. She wasn't seen. It wasn't something that just she started 2 days ago and now she has all these eyes. Like, no, it was something that took time, and it took time for her to refine that and to get more confident and have more conviction that she was the rap star that she said that she was. And also Sabrina Carpenter, literally a pop star now. I'm pretty sure they said like 7 years. She was a Disney Channel star, I think, Nickelodeon, somebody, but 7 years she was trying to figure it out. She had like a dark phase, like she was a little more edgy. Her style was a little more edgy. Music was a little different. It wasn't quite it. And it took 7 years of refinement for her to really refine who she was and who it was best for her to show up as, to be seen in the way that she was supposed to be. And that's not to say you have to change your identity or be something different, but it's usually always you becoming more of who you always were. That's at least if you're authentic. I don't know. If you're not authentic, I don't really know. All right, so now I'm going to talk about some things that could be blocking you from being seen in the way that you want to. And I already talked about the first two. The first one was about focusing on the negative, focusing on how you're not growing or you're not seeing what you want to see. Number two was that your desire to be seen could be shallow, and you just might not have that depth yet of why you want to be seen or why you're really meant to be seen. And I don't mean this shallow in a bad way. It's just that that depth is not yet there because maybe you don't have the experience yet, or just the confidence to really have that depth of how you are really meant to be seen in a way that will be lasting. Because a lot of us, and we've seen a lot of people that have got the eyes, they went viral, but it wasn't something that lasted long because it was shallow. And so them being able to have those eyes was shallow and it wasn't long lasting. But here on this channel, we're building something that is for legacy. We're building something that's going to last a lifetime. And that is always a slow burn, okay? Shout out to my Capricorn stellium, okay? And I'm Aquarius, so I am a Saturn influenced babe. So everything is a slow burn, but when it is done that way, oh, and I'm a Taurus midheaven, but when it is done that way, baby, it will last forever, a lifetime, beyond my lifetime. So it had to be deeper than just, oh, I just want to be seen. Okay, number three. So for me, I required a lot of external validation. I used to need so much validation because it was how I used to be perceived. It was how I used to just get attention, and it made me feel worthy. And so I remember when, I think it was my best friend, and she told me, she's like, you need a lot of validation. And I was like, oh, this was like years ago. This is when I first started creating content. And for a while, social media gave me that validation when it would. But the problem is that I had to realize that my worth wasn't actually tied to my social media. It wasn't actually tied to me being seen. Only once I realized that I did not need external validation and that my worth was not tied to my metrics and it was not tied to how many people saw me, was I able to elevate, because that always kept me, one, it kept me fearful from creating what I really could create and taking the risk that I needed to, because I was so worried about not getting that validation that I thought that I needed. And also it gave me the strength to be able to survive for when I was seen and people didn't like me or I did not get a positive comment. Because if your worth is built on validation from other people, if someone doesn't like it, like, you're gonna crumble, you're gonna spiral. Like, I used to be really worried about negative comments. I used to be really worried about not being accepted or liked on social media, and it made me afraid to really show up and say what I needed to say, what I was here to say. And so if you need validation, and I'm not just saying social media, but if you know that you are somebody that seeks validation just in life in general, if you're one of those people, it's okay. I was too. That is going to have to change for you to really be seen the way you need to, because if you go viral and you get too many eyes on you at once and you also get too many negative comments, it could send you into depression or worse, honestly. And so having that confidence, having that self-assuredness, and validating yourself and knowing that you are worthy and getting your worth from within, that is going to make you solid to be able to handle all of those eyes on you. Number 4 is perfectionism. And we all know, yes, I've talked about my perfectionism issues before, okay? I am a Virgo rising with a Virgo mama. Perfectionism was real. But perfectionism kept me playing small because I didn't want to be seen looking stupid. But what it really just led to was me not being seen at all, because I wasn't creating what I was supposed to be creating. I wasn't pushing the boundaries because I was so afraid of looking dumb. Okay, great. Now nobody's looking, actually, because it's so boring and it's so dull. You're not being yourself because you're so busy worried about what other people are going to think and whether it's stupid or boring or whatever. I kid y'all not. I used to think that this kind of content was boring. Not to me, because this is the only kind of content I really consume on YouTube and on TikTok. But for some reason, I thought everybody else would think that this is boring. Girl, you literally consume only this kind of content. And the people that you watch on YouTube, just using YouTube as an example, have hundreds of thousands, nearly millions of subscribers. What are you talking about? This is boring. What do you mean nobody wants to see it? And the only way that I could get better at this was just showing up. I was like, oh, my speaking, I use a lot of ands and a lot of ums. And if you go back to my videos when I really started getting back consistent with YouTube, which was like November of last year, and you watch those videos, you'll see a lot of cuts and still a few ands and ums. And I'm still using some ands and ums today because I'm human and I'm still working on it. And I am getting a public speaking coach. But this is also preparing me to speak in public as well, because I have cut down on my ums and I have cut down on my ands. And I have gotten more confident with being able to speak, but I had to just show up. And that's like the annoying part, I know, to some people that are still in hiding and dealing with perfectionism and just not feeling confident or feeling like they have the skills. Baby, you learn the skills by doing. You don't learn it by just waiting until you can afford a coach or you can afford a course or you can, you know, practice your way on your own. No, you have to just put it out there and go, because there is something that happens. There is a alchemical spiritual process that happens when you create something and you put it out in the world and you say, here, I created this. It's kind of like when you think about, I just thought about this with kids, right? When they're creating at school and they're like, here, I made this, and they show the teacher, the art teacher, or they come home and bring it home and show their parents. What happens when they do that? The teacher says, this is amazing, but let me also show you this other technique so that you can get even straighter lines, or how you can do even more of this. And they bring it home to their parents, and the parents are like, oh my God, I love this. This makes me so proud, honey. And whatever that looks like. But there is a spiritual process. There is a transformation that happens every time you create and you put it out into the world, and you build that muscle as well. You build that muscle of getting comfortable of just doing it, of doing it messy. One of the women that I watch on here, I can't think of her name. I think it's Shavina. And she says, my messy makes me millions. And I've been saying that for about 1.5 years now, 2 years. But I tell that to people all the time when they're like, I don't know if it's good enough. I'm like, girl, messy can make you millions. And I know tons of messy millionaires. I can't wait till I'm one. But now I just be putting it out there. I'm like, whatever, bro. We'll just see what happens. And there's actually a video that I did earlier in the quarter, maybe January, and it was one of my first off-the-cuff videos of where I didn't have my script all laid out, every single word, like beep, 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 and it did the best out of all my videos in the first quarter, and I'm like, okay, because it was just what it needed to be. It was raw, it was unfiltered, it was organic, it was what I was led to share, and you have to be willing to do more of that, and the perfectionism has to go. It's not cute. It's not cute. I had a friend, she was doing a presentation recently for a really big tourism board, right? And she's like, yeah, the presentation went well. First of all, I saw the presentation before she gave it, and I was like, wow, this looks amazing. This is beautiful. And she's like, oh, thank you. I wish I had more time. I'm like, whoop, whoop, yeah, yeah, yeah. And after the presentation, I'm like, how did it go? And she's like, it went so well. They loved it. They thought it was great. They're excited to work with me. And I was like, that's amazing. And then she said, yeah, I wish it had been prettier though. I was like, I wanted to suck her in the face because, girl, what are you talking about? We don't care. Nobody cares if it's prettier. What's the substance? What's the value there? It's not about, is it pretty? We can pretty everything to death. Pretty is relative. But what's the substance? What's the quality? Do you know what you're talking about? Are you showing up as yourself? All that pretty perfectionist stuff, it's not cute. And like, I'm starting to call people out on it when they do it, because I'm like, that's not cute, babe. It's not cute. And also, I think that it comes from a place of like wanting people to know that you're like, I could do better. I could do better if I had had more time. Like, I know I could do better than this if you don't think it's enough. That's what it is. I could have done better if you don't think this is enough. That's what it is. No, 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 no. You have to think it's enough. You have to decide it is enough. And also, there's nothing wrong with knowing that something could be tweaked or it could be better. But the point is, you have to first decide that it is good enough and that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up authentically as yourself, giving value. And she did. And so that's why they ate it up. And anyway, the presentation was beautiful. So all that, what she was saying really just pissed me off. But anyways, moving on. It really did, because I'm like, girl, shut up. Okay, the last one. If she sees this, yeah, I'm talking to you. All right, and I meant it. Number 5. This one is interesting because we always talk about quantum leaping and just deciding to be. But sometimes I think that we need those reps. We need more of those reps to get more confident and to find our style and to be convicted that this is something that we are good at and that it's safe here. It's safe to do this. It's safe to create this. It's safe. And I know with me for content creation, I needed more repetition to be safe. And I don't think it's all the time that everybody needs the same amount of repetition to be safe or to feel convicted in that thing, right? They talk about 10,000 hours to be an expert. I don't think you actually have to have 10,000 hours to be an expert, right? I think that that is a limiting belief because it's not a universal law. But I do think that the more reps that you get in, the more comfortable and confident and convicted you will be in whatever it is. And you'll have more flow and style, right? If you're learning to roller skate, which I do roller skate, when you're first roller skating, you're like following the rules. You're sticking to the fundamentals, right? Because you're trying to get confident on those skates. You're building in those reps. You're getting that muscle memory. But once you get comfortable just skating, let's just say we were talking about skating forward. Once you do, you start adding that flow. You start adding that style. You start adding that twist. Like everybody skates different, and I love that. And I even saw that in myself as I started to get back more comfortable roller skating. I was like, oh, okay, like I know I like to skate like this, like I know I like to do it like this. And I remember when this is so random, but I remember when I was a kid going roller skating, middle school, I would always on the turns, I would always cross over my legs. Like you do the crossovers roller skating, y'all who know, but I would hold the crossover on the turns, and then I would grab my necklace. I don't know. I was in middle school. It's kind of cringy now when I think about the necklace thing, but I had a longer necklace than this. But I would grab my necklace and I had my leg crossed over, and I'd be going around the bend. But that was my style because I was comfortable there, and I felt safe expressing myself. But you have to get in those reps to feel comfortable. So do you feel comfortable? Do you feel convicted? Do you feel confident in whatever it is that you are putting out into the world for those eyes to see it, so that you can add that flair, so that you can add that twist? And this is the last thing that I think I'm going to say. So even if you are not being seen in the way that you want, in the quantity that you want, stay authentic. And if you're not being authentic because maybe you're starting out, I think this is leading into what it was from that last one, but when you're starting out, you might be a little bit more robotic in your content. And I even noticed this about me was I'd be very professional. Like I was at my corporate job again. I'm like, hello, I am Diamond. And today I am talking about, and then it was like, we're back at work. I don't want to see it because it wasn't authentic to me. And there are creators who, you know, maybe do a style like that and it's a joke, or that's truly who they are and it works because they're being authentic. But for me, that wasn't me being my authentic self. So ask yourself, are you being authentic to who you are? Are you showing up with your personality, all of it? Because that's what we want to see here online. That's what people want to see in your art or whatever it is. They want to see who you really are. And you have to be willing to alienate some people to find your true authentic people, because when you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. And that was so hard for me as a former people pleaser was, oh my God, oh my God, I gotta offend people? Yes, girl. And maybe not completely offend people, but I'm sure some people that see some of my content when I talk about just manifesting, or I say that I'm not a Christian, but I do believe in God, that, you know, there's some people that don't like that or don't agree or whatever, but that's my truth. And that's what I would tell somebody in person. So I'm damn sure. So there should be no reason that I'm afraid to say that online. So a couple years ago, I went to VidCon in Anaheim, okay, with YouTube. And so I'm hanging out with all of these huge creators. I'm talking millions of followers. And what I noticed about all of them was that most of them that I met, at least, who they were online was who they were in person, personality wise. Like obviously there may be a few things different, but their personality online was their personality in person. And that translation was why they were able to get the eyes that they were online, because they were really being themselves. And I realized in that moment that when I would share my profile with some of them, I wasn't feeling shy and nervous because I didn't have the audience size that they had. I was feeling shy and nervous because I'm like, damn, I don't show up in my content as me the way that they show up in their content as them. It was a 1-to-1. And for me, I realized there was a little bit of a difference. It was like, oh, okay, this content's a little different than who you are. Like, and now looking back to me, if I saw somebody like that, I'd be like, aw, she's not confident. And I don't mean that in a negative way or a judgmental way, just the facts. Like, she's not confident online yet. Like, she's not confident in herself and showing up as herself, because those people were confident showing up as themselves in person and online, whatever that looked like. So please show up as yourself online and you will automatically start seeing more growth in your social media presence. This video is getting long, but whatever. We're yapping. We're having fun. Next thing I want to talk about is I was watching an interview, and it was Keke Palmer interviewing, I think, Coco Jones. I love the Baby This Is Keke Palmer podcast. Love it. When she's interviewing somebody I want to see. If it's not somebody I want to see, I don't really watch it. But I was curious about Coco Jones because I love Coco Jones. I really think that little mix, that little cover she did of the SZA song in quarantine. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to sing it. Don't need to do it. But she was talking to her about dealing with the lull period, the slow periods in their careers, because they talked about how even as big as they are, right, they have millions of fans and followers, that even they have slow periods and slow seasons of where obviously it may not zero, but there's periods where it's like whoosh, you know, and they're in the light and there's tons of articles and they're going to all these events and they're in movies or they have a new Apple and things are really hot. And then there are periods when things are a little slow. This also could have been Jordan Sparks' interview. I don't remember which one of the two, but they talked about how they have those periods. And to me, that was so shocking because I was like, oh my God, everybody has those periods. And it's actually not just limited to celebrities, it's businesses, it's life, it's nature. There's always a slow season. There's always a low period. Even Hawaii has a slow season, right? And those slow seasons are necessary, right, for us to rest and recuperate and reevaluate and come back stronger and bloom again, just like the seasons. But I kind of have forgot that is normal for everybody. That's a part of life for everyone. And what it reminded me and taught me to think about is that I know, especially sometimes when you already feel like you're not seeing that much growth, right? Or you don't have that big of a audience, you're not getting that many eyes, that when it goes from 500 views, which you're already irritated about, down to 250 views or 100 views, you're like, what? I'm in the toilet. Like, this is garbage. But it's like, no, this could just be your slower season, which means it's a season for refinement. And a lot of creators talk about how it's actually exciting for them when they have those periods. Not that they want them, but they know that when they happen, they're like, oh yeah, okay, that means it's time for me to try something new. That means it's time for me to, you know, see what I can do next. Let me tell you that when you go viral, when you are thinking about going viral, you are not going to go viral in the same way for recreating or redoing a trend that's already been created. Just when you just decide to hop on a trend. Not to say you can't get the views and the eyes. Of course you can get a little bit, right? That's why we put trendy content at the top of the content funnel. But really, when you want to grow and be known as an authority and you want to be the source, you want to be that girl, you want to be that person, you have to come up with the trends. So you need to be a step ahead. And so that's why when they have those low periods, those slower periods in their content, they're like, all right, now it's time for me to have some fun and take some risk and do something risky and do something different, so that they then come up with the trend. One of my creator friends, he came up with do you guys remember the trend when they would be snapping and they would be changing outfits? Yes, Mr. Little. Rashad, he came up with that trend and he gained so many followers, so many views from creating that trend. And the people who hopped on the trend, of course they grew, and some of them gained some followers too, of course, yes, but he gained so much. He grew crazy. He got so many eyes because he started that trend. So I say that to say, when you are in those slower periods, don't panic and get annoyed. No, now is the time for you to get creative and play with some things and see what you can come up with so that you can start your own trends. And translate this into whatever your industry or field is. And I think that's really it. And so I guess to close this out, I'll just finish by saying that you want to make sure that you are not being controlled by outside circumstances, period. And specifically when it comes to getting the views, getting the eyes that you want on your content or your work, do not look to how that is performing as an indicator of how you should feel about yourself or your worth. And instead, just look at it as a refinement period, a period of rest, or a period for you to get adventurous and have some fun with your content or whatever you do. And know that you're not just here to get a bunch of eyes. You're not just here to be seen. You are here for something more, that is not, you just don't want eyes for the sake of eyes. You want the right eyes, and you want them to be there because they are there for authentically who you are. Because you can also go viral and have all these eyes for the wrong reason. And now you have a big audience expecting you to do something that you hate doing or something that you never really wanted to do in the first place. And also when you take away that need for it to be one way or the other, or to look like a certain way, you really make it easier for it to happen. Okay, net neutral. And then one other thing that I'll say is my definition of success. I had to shift my definition of success because for so long in school, right, it was tied to grades, it was tied to what was your score and all these things and accolades and diplomas, which I had all of those, but I still wasn't fulfilled. So what needed to shift? Now my definition of success is doing the things that I told myself I was going to do and the things that I know that I am called to do. And what am I called to do? Post content. Post content like this. What am I called to do? Spend time with my family. Enjoy my friends. Make time for my hobbies. Write. And some of those things can be hard to do, but I know when I do them, that's when I feel successful. It's not the outcome from doing those things that bring me the joy and make me feel successful now. It is just the act of doing them and showing up for myself and knowing that I am a woman of my word and I do what I say that I'm going to do. That is the success. And when you let that be your definition of success, all the other stuff just becomes a bonus. It's like, oh man, I gained 100 followers this week. Great. Like, whoa. Oh man, my video, it got 1 million views. Like, I'm so excited. Like, that's so cool. And you keep going, you put your head right back down and get right back to work. Celebrate, of course, but you go right back to work because That's what it's really about. And I know if you're on this channel that you are here for the long game, you are building a brand, you are building a legacy, you are a mogul in the making. You're not looking for something quick. If you're looking for a quick, go viral, quick, how to get 1,000,000 eyes in a week, like that's not me, that's not this channel, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking to the people that are building legacy, that are in it for the long haul, that want that consistency and want to see those efforts grow over time. Because I talk about this all the time, video coming soon, I promise, but about compounding. And when you continue to post and show up and create whatever it is you're creating, no matter how many views you are, it is compounding. And I promise you, because I have pieces of content, I have projects that I've worked on, things that I've done years ago. I even forget, and someone's like, today, they'll be like, oh, I saw you do this and I'd love to give you $5,000. Oh, I saw this and I'd love to give you $4,000. I've been watching you and following you for 3 years. You didn't even know, but I'm ready to pay you today. And that's how it works. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm rooting for you, and I promise those eyes are coming. Make the shifts we talk about and shift your perspective in the way that we talked about today, and just try it out. Nothing that you have to do or stick with, whatever, but I always recommend just try it out, experiment, and see what shifts and see how much better you feel when it comes to showing up in your work. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys. Oh, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, bye.